Our area's most beautiful properties deserve the finest realtors. Meeks Realty Group. We focus on buying and selling residential and commercial properties throughout the tri-state area. Contact Meeks Realty Group online at meeks.us or call 304-440-1101.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. 580 Live is presented by Thornhill Automotive and is broadcast live from the Par-Mar Stores studio. The country, the United States of America. The state, West Virginia. The city, Charleston. This is 580 Live. And your host of 580 Live.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
Hey, good Thursday morning to you. This rainy Thursday from the Par-Mar Store studio. 580 Live brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group, the voice of Charleston, WCHS, Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858, Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. 580 Live brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group. Summertime is here. It's time to find new roads to the Thornhill Motor Mile during their Red, White, and Vroom celebration. Celebrate with a brand new Chevy Silverado. Click or come by ThornhillGMSuperstore.com or on US 119 in Chapmanville. And we do the show from the Par-Mar Store studio. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Latest one, their newest location, opens up tomorrow morning, 2725 Winfield Road. That's just off the St. Albans exits. And that store actually will be opening first thing early tomorrow morning. Ribbon cutting, big celebration planned for next Tuesday at 3 o'clock with the Putnam County Chamber of Commerce. And remember, as always, if there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Busy show today. Coming up a little bit later on, Fred Albert from the American Federation of Teachers is going to join us to talk about some things going on with the upcoming school year. That's happening. We're going to have the latest. We're keeping an eye on the story of this, the missing police canine. Of course, the officer, you know the story now, Officer Marcus Dudley from Chapmanville Police Department, but lived in the area, lived in South Charleston. Kerry Hudisek's following that story, and we're going to have some updates on that hopefully within the next hour or so, and I'll get into that story a little bit later on. Plus, how old is too old to be president of the United States? You know that there is a minimum. You have to be a certain age to run and to take office, but should there be a maximum? And I'm going to talk about that with some social media responses I got when I posted that earlier in the morning. So lots to get to. Your phone calls and texts are welcome. Again, Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text, 304-935-5008. But first, let's start with some big happenings in St. Albans this coming Saturday there in the land of the Red Dragons. The St. Albans Heritage Festival is going on, and Michael Ervin, a business person there in St. Albans, is joining us to talk about that now. Michael, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being here. Tell us about this Heritage Festival. It runs, I understand, from noon until 7 right there in the heart of St. Albans. And by the way, I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way because I know you've heard this your whole life. Being the Cowboys fanatic that I am, how many times have people compared your name spelled with an E to that of the playmaker Michael Ervin of the Cowboys spelled with an I? How many times has that happened?
It's got to be in the thousands by now.
1,001.
Go ahead. Yeah. And I got one of the jerseys, Michael Ervin jerseys, and I used to wear that all the time.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm a big, people know me now. I'm a big Cowboys fan. It's a sickness to me. But anyway, let's talk about this festival this weekend. What exactly is the St. Albans Heritage Festival?
Yeah. So St. Albans Heritage Fest used to be called Founders Day, and it was an event sponsored by the St. Albans Historical Society. And then last year there wasn't going to be one, and so a group of us, just regular Joes, got together and said we need to put something together because we're getting ready to celebrate our 150th anniversary last year, but this year we wanted to continue it going on, and we went ahead and joined up with the St. Albans Historical Society, where it should be. So it's kind of taken the place of the old Founders Day. And what it does is it celebrates the rich history of St. Albans, and it promotes what St. Albans has to offer now. And so it does a couple things. It celebrates what we have had in our history and what we're looking forward to in the future.
Again, we're talking with Michael Ervin, and you're a business owner in St. Albans. Is that right?
Yes, I own Core Coffee Company with my wife, and today actually marks our 5th anniversary from our grand opening.
Well, I want to give you an opportunity to plug your business because, I mean, some amazing things are going on with businesses there in St. Albans. I have Mayor Scott James on the show, usually once a month to update us on that. But, I mean, between you and my good friend Brian over at the Tap, I mean, there's a lot of great things going on in St. Albans.
There are. It's come a long way just in the past 5 years. We've seen a number of businesses open up on Main Street, and people are getting behind that revitalization idea of bringing back the old small town and making our hometown a place where our kids will want to come back to and want to grow up and grow a family. And so it takes a community, it takes a lot of people that are geared toward that same idea to make it happen, to make it work.
Talk about your coffee shop. You said that you've got your, 5th anniversary going on now. I'll give you a free plug here for that coffee shop, Coal River. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so we're a coffee shop and a roastery. We have 4 what I call iterations. So we have a South Charleston location, we have a mobile truck, and we have a kiosk inside the Charleston Coliseum. And but our main location is in St. Albans. It'll always be our headquarters, and that's where our roastery is. And so we get to wholesale our coffee all over the state, and you can find it up and down Charleston as well. But one of the cool things is we want people to have an experience that is positive, not just to have a great cup of coffee, but they're inspired to jump into the vision and know that their dollars are directly affecting our community.
Well, it sounds like your place may be pet friendly. I'm hearing some dogs. Are you at home or something? Because we had dogs going on in the background.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that.
It's all good. It's live radio, man. I love it. I love it.
I know.
So as a small business owner, when you had these things like the heritage festivals and everything, what do you get out of that? And as far as bringing people to downtown and maybe checking out some of your businesses like yours or some of the others?
Yeah, so it gives us a chance to showcase what Old Main is becoming. It also gives us a chance to give other small business owners that maybe work out of their house or work, maybe have a mobile food truck that can come and set up. And so we have that going on. So we'll have vendors, food vendors, and a lot of local artists. And it also showcases our local music artists as well. So we'll have live music, and everyone that's going to be performing, a lot of them are kind of on the younger side. They're all under 40, between the ages of 18 and 40. And, a lot of them have a bright future. So anyway, but that's kind of what we get out of it. But it also shows people that, man, St. Albans is a place to go to. It's a destination town. And I know that the mayor has talked about that quite a bit. But that was kind of the goal 5 years ago, is to give people something to do, somewhere to go. And I think, it's becoming known now. We've already, all the time we have people that come just to experience the coffee shop or go down to the Tap or the Drummings or the cafe and the cupcake place. So it's just, there's a lot of cool things happening, and the future is bright. We have, if I had more time, I would have more businesses.
Well, that's a good thing to have. I mean, it's a good. Have you had problems finding workers for all these businesses? Because I know across America, it's a problem.
It is. That is the biggest struggle. So that's what my struggle is when I think about opening other locations, is staffing. And not just staffing in general, but quality of staffing, and making sure that we can pay people what they're worth. And so, we have not, we pay people way more than minimum wage, because being a barista is a skill that you learn, and it's a skill you can take with you all over the world. And but I know we're not the only people that struggle with that, but I feel like we're always hiring. And we're always interviewing people, and the struggle is just making sure people are dependable, and that they show up. That's been our main issue.
Yeah. Well, and you're certainly not alone in that, Michael, because it's happened all across America. All right, let's get back to it. St. Albans Heritage Festival. Again, it's happening this Saturday. Is there a place where people can learn more about the activities? Got a Facebook page or any place they can go to?
Yeah, there's a St. Albans Heritage Festival Facebook page. Go there. We do have an event, and we'd love it if you share it, if you like it, respond if you're going. And in there, it'll tell you the details. So we have a cruise-in happening. So last year we had a big car show. This year's just going to be on a smaller scale. So we have a cruise-in. We have food trucks. We have craft vendors. We have the St. Albans Farmers Market will be on Main Street for this event. And Main Street will be closed starting at 8 a.m. Saturday morning on the 12th. And even later that night, we have a dedication of a new music stage on Main Street. It's the Dobbs stage is what it's called. Mm-hmm. And so there's going to be some live music then starting at 7. And so it's going to be a great day of festivities, celebrating the history of St. Albans, but also what it is now and where we want to go with it.
All right. Well, it sounds good. It's going to be a great day there in St. Albans and night, too. Michael Ervin, I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join us today. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dave. Have a great day.
You as well. Michael Ervin, again, one of the folks behind the St. Albans Heritage Festival, formerly Founders Day, that's going on this Saturday. Starts at noon, runs till 7 or later. Live music and all kinds of great food and car cruise-ins. It's going to be a great time. Go check it out if you need more information. Again, the St. Albans Heritage Festival this Saturday starting at noon in downtown St. Albans. Your phone calls to 580 Live are a service of Biggly Piggly Wiggly. When shopping at your Biggly Piggly Wiggly, be sure to join their loyalty program. You can save big at the gas pumps and throughout the store with their electronic coupons and free gifts on Fridays just for stopping by from farm to table. Biggly Piggly Wiggly, the best kept secret in Charleston. Texting services provided by Fruit Pharmacy, your hometown family pharmacy. I want to get to this before we get to the break, and then we'll bring Fred Albert from the AFT in here. I got a text toward the end of the show yesterday. Matter of fact, the kind of way this works is once I wrap up the show, I turn off the computer and log out, and I don't see things until the next day. But I got a text there at the end of the show yesterday where you recall there was a gas explosion in Dunbar a few days ago. The owner of the house lost a cat. The cat ran, and they are desperately, of course, according to a texter, trying to find her, and they've not been able to locate her since then. Now, she is chipped, so she's not at any of the shelters. I actually talked to our good friend Hannah Gardner from the Kanawha Charleston Humane Association yesterday. Hannah, of course, is on the show every Friday. They said they are aware of the cat, and they're trying to find it too. It's a beautiful cat. They actually texted me a picture of the cat. So, again, this cat was in that tragic gas explosion in Dunbar from a few days ago. And the cat, obviously scared, ran off, and they're trying to find the cat. At the conclusion of the show, I will upload the picture that they sent me up to Dave Allen Radio on Facebook and at Dave A70 on Twitter. I'm not smart enough, unfortunately, to be able to do two things at once, but I will have it at the end of the show. I'll try to have that uploaded. If you see this particular cat, it's a beautiful cat, and again, I'll have the picture posted. You can call 304-688-3314. Again, it's area code 304, of course, 688-3314. 580 Live presented in part by Meeks Realty Group. You know, our area's most beautiful properties deserve the finest realtors. Meeks Realty Group. Visit them online at meeks.us or call 304-440-1101. Again, 304-440-1101. Back after this from the Parmar Store Studio. 580 Live is brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Are you a physical therapy assistant and looking for an opportunity in orthopedics, wellness, and athletic care? If so, Generations Physical Therapy is offering flexible work hours and an upbeat atmosphere. With 7 convenient locations, Generations may have a job designed for you. Visit generationspt.com.
We are professional grade. Hey, it's Sydney inviting you to conquer the great outdoors this summer on the Thornhill Motor Mile. The GMC Sierra has you covered. Off-road capability to conquer any terrain. Plus, select new 2023 GMC Sierra trucks available 0.9% APR. Plus $1,250 trade assist. Plus 90-day payment deferral. Plus. Well equipped with our Thornhill Value Plus warranty. Long-term coverage plus. Quicker come by today at ThornhillGMSuperstore.com or on US 119 in Chapmanville and drive your summer like a pro. info. Must qualify for all offers through GM Financial. See Thornhill for all details.
Reckless big government policies are putting the American dream out of reach. We all know Washington is broken, but it doesn't have to be. Senator Joe Manchin could be part of the solution if he stood up for West Virginia values. Instead, he voted with Joe Biden on the Inflation Reduction Act, which led to higher taxes, trillions in new spending, and tens of thousands of new IRS agents. Tell Joe Manchin, Mountaineers want real, common sense solutions. To learn more, visit prosperityispossible.com. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Elevators. You take them for granted until they let you down. If you're working to maintain a stellar reputation, then let me introduce you to DC Elevator. We want to work with you to make sure your people get where they are going. What could be better than a new company coming to the area and already having 45 years of experience? DC Elevator is bringing a new culture of elevator maintenance, repairs, modernization, and installation to West Virginia. Don't leave your people hanging. For a free consultation, call DC Elevator at 304-345-7222.
The West Virginia University football team is approaching a seminal season. Head coach Neil Brown's job is on the line, and it all begins with a showdown with an old rival in Happy Valley. Saturday, September 2nd, Metro News returns with team coverage you have come to depend on. Hoppy Kercheval, Brad Howe, Fred Persinger, Kyle Wiggs, Jeff Jenkins, Travis Jones, Greg Hunter, Dave Weekley, Joe Bricotto, Steve Dunlap, and the rest of the crew return with the most comprehensive and candid coverage of the Mountaineers here on this Metro News station.
923, 580 Live, presented in part by Pinnacle Consultants. Whether you're replacing a roof, remodeling a kitchen, or replacing a bathroom, to keep it safe and to keep it legal, get with Pinnacle Consultants. They can inspect your site, collect samples, perform lab analysis, and provide results within a week. Testing all renovations for mold, asbestos, and lead. That's the law, folks, in West Virginia. So visit pinnaclecorp.net. It's pinnaclecorp.net for Pinnacle Consultants, because what you don't know can hurt you. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today. I want to welcome into the show Fred Albert, good friend from the American Federation of Teachers. Mr. Albert, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Dave. I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. First of all, thanks for the gift. He brought me a stress reliever. Do I seem stressed? It's a nice little thing that says ready, read, and write West Virginia on it. I got a little stress reliever. If it was a little bit heavier, I could just throw it through the glass there.
There you go.
No, all's good with me. How about you, buddy?
Everything is great. It's the most wonderful time of the year. School is starting up in many counties. I think teachers are going back today. I've been traveling around the state, have been meeting with new teachers, and there's always hope. It's so good to see young people who have answered the call to this profession that I love so dearly, the teaching profession, which I say makes all other professions possible. Monday, I was in Kanawha County at their new teacher orientation and saw two of my former students who are now teachers, and that always makes me feel very proud for them.
Well, that's good. And, how long were you a teacher in the classroom?
I taught for 30 years. 20 of those, my last 20 years were spent in middle school.
Okay.
So,
it's interesting to me when people, and who is it that I have on the show that you've texted a couple of times? Was it Mackenzie?
Mackenzie
Spencer,
and,
from Best of All.
Eden Douglas.
Yeah, Eden Douglas you had both of those. They're both regulars on the show, Mackenzie with Festival and Eden Douglas with the Dirty Birds. And when I've had them on the show, you've actually texted me and said, hey, Mr. Albert says hello. When you see your students, your former students that have achieved good things like those two ladies have and others have, I mean, that's got to give you a little bit of a sense of pride, even though you're not solely responsible for it. But
it takes a team, But I do like the fact that they remember me, and apparently I did something right. I didn't ruin them. I would like to think that I helped them along on this journey that they're now answering. One young man I'm most proud of that I talked with on Monday, he actually had worked for the city. That's where I last had a conversation with him. And then he became a custodian for Kanawha County Schools. And now he is a certified teacher with Kanawha County Schools.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
that's good
he's
stuff.
had a very interesting pathway to what he's doing now. But I have heard from several teachers where he will be teaching. He already taught some last year there, I think mostly for the whole year. But he's considered a new teacher because he's been hired full-time in that position, actually teaching behavioral disorder students. But They love him. They said he's doing a great job. And I'm not surprised because he was a great student. He's one of those students that stick out in my mind of he was always doing the right things. So
and I've had so many teachers. Again, we're talking with Fred Albert from the American Federation of Teachers. Fred, I've had so many teachers and educators that have told me, from that they see a kid in kindergarten or first grade and they see this young man, this young lady is going to achieve great things. And and there's a flip side of that sometimes too. And those people go into radio. Those people because I get that a lot from my former teachers. I'm friends with my kindergarten teacher on Facebook, and she said I always knew that you would do something running your mouth. so that's good.
Well, I taught kindergarten one year back in the day. I had my very first job. I was RIFT after my first year. RIFT means reduction in force, of course, and I did not know that happened to teachers back then. But the next year, in order to have a job, I taught kindergarten half day, and I was a half day librarian at 2 different schools. But one of those kindergarten students, I will never forget him. He came up to me and extended his hand on the first day and said, "I need to introduce myself." Kindergartner. And he did. And then years later, I saw him at the Capitol. He came up to me, and he stands about a head taller than myself. And he said, "Mr. Albert, you may not remember me, but I am." And he told me who he was, and he is a teacher and a football coach, and very successful.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good stuff.
I must have done something right in kindergarten also.
You learned him up good.
I learned him up good.
Learned him up good. All right, so you were telling me as you came in and I had seen some of this on the news that there were some test scores that came out yesterday, and it shows a positive
It shows
trend.
that we're
Talk
moving
about
in
that.
the right direction, which is always hopeful. That's where we want to go. We know we have a lot more work to do, but echoing what President Paul Hardesty said, this is encouraging because we're moving in the right direction. I think the overall math scores were up by 2%, and I think the same with the reading scores. The science scores, maybe not so much, but it looks hopeful. Roane County and a small county like Roane County, kudos to them. They had some of the most significant gains.
Really?
I think they went up by like 5% in math and reading. There's an initiative that most people are excited about called Ready, Read, Write through the State Department of Education. There were some symposiums held this summer. I was fortunate enough to be able to attend the one in Charleston where we had over 600 educators there, and they were excited. They were excited about the initiative of Ready, Read, Write. Teachers want their students to be successful. I've yet to meet a teacher who says, I don't care. They care, and they want their students to do well. So this is encouraging. As you look over the test scores, I still haven't had time to, dive down really deep into all of the things that are on that page, but it doesn't look like our public charter schools did as well as our public schools did. So I know they're new and they've got some growing pains, but I think our public schools do a nice job, and they're going to continue to do a nice job.
Fred Albert from the American Federation of Teachers is here. How are we doing on recruiting teachers in West Virginia?
It is a tough sell right now. Talking about having hope. I was also in Cabell County at their new teacher orientation. They had over 100 in attendance there. I was on my way to Wood County that same day, and about 10 miles outside of the event where the event was being held, I got a phone call to go home because they had a storm and flooding there. So I didn't get to the Wood County new teacher orientation. But it's a tough sell because most of the personnel directors that I've spoken with have said we still have openings that we are struggling to fill. We've got to support our teachers. We've got to take this profession, lift it up. And it's a great profession. It truly is. There are many, many rewards besides money. So we've got to make it more inviting. But I'm concerned that we are losing some of our newer teachers. They're just leaving. It's not necessarily people who are eligible for retirement. The numbers aren't out. I've talked with several personnel directors around the state, and they don't have their numbers yet. They're still struggling to fill spots. So we'll have to see in about a couple more weeks how many are still having holes in their employment. But I hope last year we had over 1,500 openings that were only filled by teachers who were not necessarily certified in the field they were teaching.
Yeah.
So that's concerning. Every student deserves a highly qualified, certified teacher in their classroom.
I would agree, Fred. And again, the $64 million question here is why aren't more people wanting to go into the profession? And I'll follow it up by saying, if you took a poll on kids, maybe in grade school in West Virginia or anywhere for that matter, let's say the 50s, 60s, or even when I was in elementary school, which would have been in the 1970s, and asked them, what do you want to do when you grow up? A large number of those students, kids I remember, would have said, be a teacher. Why isn't that the case now?
Well, I think there are several reasons for that, Dave. One of the reasons we've lost respect for those people who are in front of the classroom.
We've lost respect for everybody in society. That's another show.
We have, and that's a shame. But our teachers have such strong influences on our young people, on our students. And I think all of us could look back on our school years and say, so-and-so really put me on the right path, or along with my parents, because I had great parents and I'm fortunate. They helped me determine who I am today. But like you said, we've lost respect in a lot of professions, the law enforcement and other areas, doctors, lawyers. But it's just tough. And money, you've got to compensate people fairly. And many students, especially math students who are really good in math, they see they can make a lot more money if they go to work in a private industry using their great math skills. So we have to look at all of those, the whole package. It's just tough. It's truly tough.
Are public school numbers in West Virginia, are you folks losing teachers to charter schools and things of that nature?
No, I don't think we are that drastically.
Or virtual schools or anything like that?
They're just leaving the profession totally. They're going
in general.
Or they're going to other states. Or young teachers see the pathway to making more in their profession moving into administration. So we've had several who have, because our principals are leaving also. And we've had several bright, young, great teachers who are now becoming administrators. And we need good administrators as well. But for the sake of losing them in the classroom, it's discouraging.
How are we looking at our surrounding states? Because that was something that was always reported that, if you have somebody that lives in a border state, maybe in the Eastern Panhandle or something, or, they could go over to another state and make more money. Where are we on that now?
That still exists. However, this is a nationwide problem. We have teacher shortages and service personnel shortages, bus drivers, cooks, custodians, all across the nation. And I think that comes back to the respect issue, because as we were growing up, we respected those in authority and those who were in the teaching profession and other professions. That's been somewhat lost. I was sad to hear the other day the young 6-year-old who shot the teacher in some county in Virginia showed no remorse for doing that. And I'm like, how in the world did we get to this place?
I heard a clip on the news yesterday morning, on the morning news here on the station, where this is a 6-year-old kid that said, I shot that blank dead.
I know.
I mean, expletive. It wasn't an accident.
Imagine.
He said, I shot that bee dead.
Yeah, I cannot imagine. But, hopefully we're not going to stay in that place very long.
I don't know how we get out of it, Fred.
Well, we've all got to pull together.
Yeah.
We have to lift up this profession. One thing that at the symposium, and I tell everyone this everywhere I go, Weston Kieschnick is a great motivational speaker. He came to the symposium here, the Invest Symposium that the State Department put on in Charleston. And I remember at the end of his talk, he pulled up a chair on the stage and just very casually sat down and talked to all the teachers there. And he said this: don't set yourself on fire trying to keep everyone else warm. And I thought, that's what we do many times. Teachers are worn out. They get burnt out because they take care. They're caregivers. They try to take care of everyone. And then he said this, which I think is also something we need to remember: check on each other. at the end of the school day or during the school day, check on your colleagues and make sure they're all right. And I've been preaching that same sermon everywhere I go. We need to check on our people to make sure they're okay, because these are very trying times for all of us.
I would agree. Text says, Dave, you should do a show where listeners give props, thanks, and shout-outs to those teachers that made the biggest impacts on their lives. I will do that
I think that's a great idea.
As we get closer to the school term. That's a good idea, Texter. I appreciate that. All right, so speaking of the school term that's coming up, what are you looking at this year? I mean,
well, we're looking at having a good year. Hopefully, it will be somewhat of a normal year in relationship to what we've experienced over the past 3 years. We're excited. We look, to do our best. We're very excited about the Ready, Read, Write initiative. We want our children to be able to be successful with reading. Reading is so important. Writing is important, and they all fit in with my favorite subject, of course, is math. But if you can't read and you can't write, you can't answer a reading math problem. But we're hopeful. We're hopeful that we're going to be strong. Our schools are going to be safe. And our students are going to love coming back to school. They're excited. I call it the most wonderful time of the year. And I think as I've traveled around, I'm seeing excitement in our educators. They're ready to come back, and they're looking for a great year. And our test scores are going to be even better at the end of this school year.
Well, best of luck to you and all of the educators out there. You're doing good work, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate you.
Brett Alberts from the American Federation of Teachers, 22 minutes away from 10. 580 Live brought to you in part by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. Birds take on Lexington at Go-Mart Ballpark tonight, and with it being Thursday, that means it's $1 beer night and another Charlie's Throwback Night. For tickets, Dirty Birds gear, promotion schedules, and more, visit dirtybirdsbaseball.com. We're back after this from the Parmar Store Studio, 580 Live, brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses bring first-class businesses to your community.
Thrive with 5 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 5%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by a Poca Valley Bank location today or call 844-782-2651. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
We are professional grade. Hey, it's Sydney inviting you to conquer the great outdoors this summer on the Thornhill Motor Mile. The GMC Sierra has you covered. Off-road capability to conquer any terrain. Plus, select new 2023 GMC Sierra trucks available 0.9% APR. Plus $1,250 trade assist. Plus 90-day payment deferral. Plus. Well equipped with our Thornhill Value Plus warranty. Long-term coverage plus. Quicker come by today at ThornhillGMSuperstore.com or on US 119 in Chapmanville and drive your summer like a pro. Must qualify for all offers through GM Financial. See Thornhill for all details.
The Husson's Pizza August Special is a largest large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and an order of cheese sticks for just $21.99. Find your local Husson's for pickup or delivery at hussonspizza.com.
Traveling, volunteering, spending time with family. What's your retirement look like? With income planning from Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor can help you grow and protect your wealth. They'll look at your full financial picture and help you create a flexible strategy that considers things like market conditions and healthcare expenses, so you can stop worrying about the future and enjoy whatever comes next. Visit fidelity.com/income planning. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, member NYSE SIPC.
A driver who isn't wearing their seatbelt may get a ticket. A driver who isn't wearing their seatbelt during a crash may not make it home. Don't risk it. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
19 minutes in front of 10. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline. 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. 580 Live brought to you in part by Generations Physical Therapy. 7 convenient locations along I-64, and they're hiring for both licensed and technically trained staff. For more information, visit generationspt.com. Text says, Dave, you're losing teachers because they're being attacked by right-wingers during the pandemic, just like nurses were as well. We're also... I mean, you could sit here, and I don't disagree totally with what that texter's saying. You could sit here and you can make a list of all the reasons why people wouldn't want to be a teacher. Fred and I talked about the respect. There was a time that being a teacher was, it's just a bigger problem with society, man. I mean, I've told the story before. When I was a kid, if I came home and I looked at my mother or father and I said, "Well, Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so is picking on me," I was automatically presumed to be wrong because I'm a kid and they're an adult, and we've somehow gotten away from that. I don't know how you fix it. I really don't. And you've heard me say before, there's a couple of professions that I don't know I would do for any amount of money. One is be a police officer, and other is being a teacher because of the lack of respect that you have for both of them. I really do believe that. The days, the hours are counting down until this epic matchup. It's Jordan Malone. It's Steelers and Cowboys. It's Yankees and Red Sox. It's the Midnight Express versus the Rock and Roll Express. I'm talking about Pushkin v. Hodge. State Republican Party co-chair Tony Hodge taking on State Democratic Party chair and delegate Mike Pushkin. No holds barred, fight to the finish next Tuesday, starting just after the news at 9 o'clock here on 580 Live. And I'm taking up the entire hour for this discussion. I'm going to play a small part, but like you, I'm mostly going to be the nosy voyeur, relegated to the sidelines for this one. And that's not to say your input isn't wanted, because it is. Should be a good show, though. Text and phone calls from you, Dave Nation, always welcome on the show, especially next Tuesday. Looking forward to it. Mike Pushkin, Tony Hodge, they get the whole 50, whatever the show is, after 52 minutes, I think it is, after commercials next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. And speaking of things you can look forward to, tonight is the night on the Hill at West Virginia International Yeager Airport. As the quarterback club of Marshall University here in Charleston presents the annual Paint the Capital City Green, sponsored by the good folks at Ball Toyota. I don't know that Charleston has seen quite an event like this, and I'll go ahead and I'll put every promotional cliche out there, bigger and better than ever, a thrill a minute. We'll sell you the full seat ticket, but you're only going to need the edge, whatever you want to say. I'm going to be serving as MC along with my main man, the semi-legendary Steve Animal from our new sister station, 987 The Mountain, Wild, Wonderful, Classic Rock. He and I did this last year, and the best of my knowledge, we did not get arrested, and we were actually managed to go through TSA and everything. Editor's note, football coach Huff will not be at the event tonight. And I talked about this on Hotline with Dave Weekly yesterday. There was an emergency within the family of one of the Marshall assistant coaches. So Coach Huff sends his regrets. He is not going to be there tonight. He's going to be serving as running backs coach during the Herd's practice tonight. But all the others should be there. The majority of all the other coaches are going to be there. Coach D'Antoni is going to be there. And anytime you give D'Antoni a live microphone, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. And the cheerleaders are going to be there. It's just going to be a great, great night. So if you get an opportunity, come join us. Tickets will be available at the door. They're $60 a piece. It's at the Bill No Flight School at the airport. And again, our good folks at Ball Toyota make it all possible. I forgot to mention Brad Smith, Marshall president, is going to be there. The athletic director, Christian Spears, just a whole lot of Herds fans. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. With all love to WVU, Charleston is a Marshall town. There, I had to get that off my chest. We'll see everyone tonight at the airport. No, I just said that to try to sell some tickets, to be honest with you. But come on up and join. It's going to be a great time tonight. 580 Live is presented in part by Hudson's Pizza. This month, get a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and an order of cheese sticks, only $21.99. For locations, to place an order, or for delivery, visit Hudson'sPizza.com. This situation with this police dog known as Chase, there's been a story that many people have been obsessed with for some time. Jeff Jenkins has a story posted this morning, WVMetroNews.com. Marcus Dudley was the police officer in question. Now, he was an officer in the Chapmanville Police Department, but actually lived in South Charleston. He now lives out of state after he was fired by the Chapmanville Police Department. The dog went missing on April 11th, and when the dog went missing, Officer Dudley reported the disappearance of the dog to the police in South Charleston, since that's where the officer lived. Officer Dudley, claimed the dog jumped the fence. Police have said that they have proven that did not happen. Now, Marcus Dudley was due in court yesterday after being indicted. He did not show up yesterday. And Kanawha Circuit Judge Duke Bloom issued a warrant for the arrest of Officer Dudley. He has until 11 this morning to make an appearance. Now, our Carrie Hudasek is following the story closely. We'll have updates whether or not he shows up. Now, Dudley's lawyers say because he's living out of state, he had transportation issues getting back to West Virginia. Well, one thing's for sure, he better get his butt back there by 11 o'clock this morning, one way or the other. You get a bus or something, get here. So we'll see if he's there or not. And as I said, Carrie is monitoring the story. We'll have an update. I think she's going to join Hoppy on Talk Line to talk about it a little bit more. So this is a story that started, in Logan County. And, my home county, I have some insight into this. I actually met Officer Dudley a couple of years ago. I was visiting a friend who was with the Chapmanville Fire Department, and Officer Dudley, who was then employed by the police department, came in. I was introduced to him. Didn't have the dog with him at the time. It seemed like a nice enough guy. He was a military guy, originally from Georgia. So he and I kind of hit it off because I told him the story. I was born at Fort Benning, Georgia, where my dad was stationed in the military, and we talked a lot about that. As I said, he seemed like a nice guy. But I'm afeared, as the old timers would say, we're not going to find the dog. If you know anything at all about fully trained canine officers, they don't go missing. They don't jump fences, and they don't get stolen. They are fully trained to make sure none of those things happen, the dogs I'm talking about. And being from a smaller area, you hear stuff, and it's pretty credible stories that are out there about what happened to Chase, sadly, the canine officer. I'm not going to put it out there, but let's just say the court system won't have a difficult time in sorting this one out and getting a severe punishment for Officer Dudley. He, in my opinion, he certainly deserves it. And if he's convicted to prison, when they find out what he did, he's gonna have a bad day. I'll just say it and leave it alone. Carrie Hudasek again following the story closely. I'm going to knock out a couple texts here. Let me see. Text says Republicans defund education. Republicans get on the radio to badmouth the public school system. Republicans fight tooth and nail not to give teachers raises. And in comes Dave to say Republicans aren't the problem. No, that's not at all what I said. That's not even close to what I said. I said this goes back well before. This has been going on for some time. And I am not going to give my Republican brethren, I think there's things that they should be doing and could be doing better. Yeah, there I said it. But no, that's not my, there's nobody in the world that has more respect for educators and police officers than I do, and especially educators. The good ones are really, really good. And in our society right now, the teachers are all, you don't have an idea, most of us don't, what being a public school teacher is like in West Virginia now, or for that matter, anywhere across the country. Because you are asked to not only teach science, English, math, you are also asked to be a social worker. You're asked to be a quasi-parent. You're asked to teach them skills that they don't get at home because a lot of parents are just crappy parents. A lot, not all, obviously not all, but a lot are. And so when these kids show up to school, these kids that are in school now, they face horrors that you and I, being a Gen X kid, can't even imagine what these kids are going through. But I'm not going to give the Republicans a pass on this. They should be doing more and could be doing more as it comes to public education. I agree wholeheartedly. Text says, Dear Dave, did I miss here at the top of the show? What's today's topic? How old is too old? It's 12 till, still nothing. Well, I'm getting to it. Got a lot of stuff to get to. All right. But I did want to pose this question. And I just want to kind of keep it as president. Not all people the same age act the same way. We all know that. But is there an age that's too old to be president? A majority of Americans don't want either President Biden or former President Trump to be the nominee for president in 2024. But unless something changes, they will be. And one of the reasons people cite that they don't want either one of them, and there are a variety on both sides, but one of the major reasons is age. And it's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons. So how old is too old to serve for president? Or any major political office for that matter? People have questioned the faculties of Mitch McConnell of Dianne Feinstein. Remember when people said Senator Byrd wasn't exactly hitting on all cylinders in his later years, nor President Reagan in his second term. So there's the question. And I got plenty of responses to get to. Sorry I didn't get to it sooner, but sometimes, radio happens. Should there be an age limit to be able to run for president? Or, go ahead and say higher office, throw Senate in there as well. Should there be, and we know that there is an age minimum, got to be 35 to run for president. So let's say, should there be an age max? Let me know what you think. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text, 304-935-5008. Ton of text to get to. We're going to get to them in just a moment. From the Parmar Store Studio, 580 Live is brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group on the voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses want to thank you for shopping locally.
Does your knee pain keep getting worse? How about that pain in your shoulder, your hip, or your back? Don't let them tell you steroids and surgery are your only option. Take my advice and call QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Dave Allen. QC Kinetics can make that pain go away with all natural advanced regenerative medicine. They're helping people here every day with these amazing natural treatments that restore and repair damaged joint tissue. It's like turning back the clock. Regenerative medicine uses concentrated healing agents from your own body to stimulate that damaged tissue in your joints so they can work like they're supposed to, and there's zero downtime. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting medical breakthrough. Patients here are getting real lasting relief and are saying no to surgery and drugs. If you have pain due to injury or arthritis, this is a remarkable option that you need to check out, and the consultation is free. Call QC Kinetics of Huntington and Cross Lanes for your complimentary consultation. 304-202-5566. 304-202-5566.
We are professional grade. Hey, it's Sydney inviting you to conquer the great outdoors this summer on the Thornhill Motor Mile. The GMC Sierra has you covered. Off-road capability to conquer any terrain. Plus, select new 2023 GMC Sierra trucks. Available 0.9% APR. Plus $1,250 trade assist. Plus 90-day payment deferral. Plus. Well equipped with our Thornhill Value Plus warranty. Long-term coverage plus. Click or come by today at ThornhillGMSuperstore.com or on US 119 in Chapmanville and drive your summer like a pro. Must qualify for all offers through GM Financial. See Thornhill for all details.
Reckless big government policies are putting the American dream out of reach. We all know Washington is broken, but it doesn't have to be. Senator Joe Manchin could be part of the solution if he stood up for West Virginia values. Instead, he voted with Joe Biden on the Inflation Reduction Act, which led to higher taxes, trillions in new spending, and tens of thousands of new IRS agents. Tell Joe Manchin, Mountaineers want real, common sense solutions. To learn more, visit prosperityispossible.com. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
6 away from 10, 580 Live brought to you part by QC Kinetics of Huntington and Cross Lanes. Is that knee pain getting worse, or your pain in your shoulders, your hips, or back? Get real lasting relief without surgery, drugs, or downtime by calling QC Kinetics 304-202-5566, 304-202-5566 for QC Kinetics of Huntington and Cross Lanes. Text says, I agree. There are many good teachers, but I personally know several that are lazy, horrible people, and the national and state unions have caused many people to lose faith in the profession, according to a texter. One more on this, and I'll get back to the age thing. Text says we need more discipline in our schools, period. I would agree with that. We also need to support our teachers and administrators and give them the highest pay that we can afford, says a texter. All right, so how old is too old to run for president or to serve as president? Text says no one over 70 should run or should serve. Text says 75 is the age. Another text says 74 is the age. Text says, well, I just think that people need to be tested or something, because one person can be 80 and be mentally and totally there, but another person at 60 not. Good point. Text says that's a hard question. There is a minimum age to run, but all are 75-year-olds, or are all 75-year-olds the same person? Not all 45-year-olds are the same people. There needs to be some sort of a neurological test that is put forward by a doctor. Texture says a lot can change medically and physically, cognitively in 4 years. Mr. Reagan still appeared razor sharp during the 84 re-election campaign, but we all know how that he had declined by the time he retired in 1989. We've all seen photos side by side of how much even younger presidents such as Clinton, Bush, and Obama aged while in office. Perhaps the hardest job in the world, it takes a huge toll. Text says it's about performance, not age. Text says, I think no matter the age, they should have to take a cognitive test. I mean, my husband's grandma is 104 and still has her mind. Text says, got to get term limits to prevent dementia from spreading more. Text says, you shouldn't really impose arbitrary restrictions on the will of the American people. They should be able to vote for whoever they want. The problem is the people aren't paying as much attention as we would like, but slapping an age limit on presidents is just treating the symptom without treating the disease. Texter says, I believe the age to run is 65, should not be above 65. I think 70, says the texter, should be the max to run. Text says no. However, there should be an immediate constitutional amendment, and the president has to be human, as the robots are pretty close to having a say in things, according to a texter. And I think it's a really good point when you say not all people of the same age act or have the same personalities, the same abilities. I mean, look at Senator Joe Manchin. Now, regardless of what people you may think of Senator Joe Manchin, I'm not talking about his policies. I'm talking about just the guy. Joe will be 76 years old in a couple of weeks. And you may not like Senator Manchin. Maybe you do. But one thing about Senator Manchin, no one would ever question his mental capacity at his age. The guy is incredible. He is the most incredible politician I've ever seen. And what I mean by that is the way he conducts himself in public. Again, not talking about policies. I'm just talking about the politician. Man shakes hands of everybody. He remembers. He meets you one time. He remembers you. He remembers your mother. He remembers, what you do for a living. He knows. And he's pretty sharp. Matter of fact, I was talking to one of his staff members yesterday, who's a good friend of mine, and he's been with Senator Manchin for several years. He says that younger people can't keep up with him. So I don't know that age is necessarily the thing. I don't know. Programming note, Senator Manchin will be on Hoppy at 10:06 this morning. President Biden will be 83 years old later this year. Former President Trump is 77 years old. So again, I don't know where I am on this. Is should there be an age max? We knew, again, there's an age minimum, but what about a max? Maybe it is that we need to do cognitive testing on them. Text says, as far as tests for age for president, the voters should have enough sense to research the candidates. So, well, yeah, we'll leave that alone. Text says, I think the issue of politicians not representing their voters would be fixed by getting big money donors out of the process. Voting won't be representative of everyone as long as the Koch and above the Koch brothers and the Buffett types are throwing money into politics. All right, we got to go. Thank you to all my guests today. Coming up on the show tomorrow, Kelly Steele from the Putnam County CVB is my guest host tomorrow. Hannah Gardner from the Humane Association will be here, as well as Jim Strawn talking live on the levee. My producer was Ryan Nicholson. Ryan, thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow. Till next time, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS AM, W243DRFM Charleston, and W283AQ Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.